What's up, everybody? Welcome to the One Hood Power Hour Sit-Down discussion. I am your host, Royce Jones. Today, we're talking about Disabilities Pride Month. Did you know that July actually marks Disability Pride Month? There's a difference between that and then Disability Awareness Month that we know we recognize in October. So joining us here today to talk about this, how we can get involved, how we can recognize this month is Michelle Walker, the ADA and Disability Resource Coordinator from the Office of Equal Protection with the City of Pittsburgh. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Royce. Thank you for having me today.
Of course. How you doing today?
I'm excellent today. It's a
awesome.
Great day to help people out and change some lives.
Yes, every day, right? Every day.
Every day.
So
every
we know
day, all day.
Right, every day, all day, and that's honestly a perfect starting point into our conversation, just to talk about your role and what your position means. So why don't you talk to us about what you do?
So I am the ADA and Disability Resources Coordinator here in the City of Pittsburgh Mayor's Office of Equal Protection. That's a mouthful, but what I do is I help people in the community get access to resources that they need for accessibility, to live, to work, and for recreational purposes as well.
And what would you say? What would you say is your personal connection to this role? What does it mean for you to serve in this position?
It is an honor to serve. It's a blessing to serve, and I do not take this responsibility lightly. I am deaf and hard of hearing. I have been since birth. So I have many years of experience living with a disability. I understand the importance of accessibility for everyone.
Sorry.
No.
Well, I was just going to say, we were sort of talking before the interview started. It seems like there are things all around us that could use improvement. Like, for example, the software we're using today doesn't have closed captioning, so there are probably things that you bump into all the time that you're like, this could use some doctoring. What are some of those common things that you notice in your position and even day-to-day life where you're like, okay, this could use some help?
Thanks for asking. So I audit unintentionally every day, all day. I audit in my environment. I audit conversations. I audit a lot, and it's automatic now. It's integrated into my daily life. With my role, I have the honor of working with a great team who are working towards accessibility within our city. With various events that I do, I have piloted and initiated projects to highlight the empathy and the need for accessibility for everyone. So I've piloted a program which I have dubbed Disability Immersion training, where I take members of our teams, different departments, out onto the street to what we call the right of way, which is where our constituents and community has to go to travel and navigate our city, right? So we literally went out in wheelchairs, walkers, and white canes and navigated the right of way in much the similar fashion that someone who has a disability does. So with that, I enabled awareness. We enable, awareness about disability accessibility and how imperative it is, and the challenges and the barriers that our community members may face just in their everyday life, navigating the community. So wow. It's been very great feedback, and I'm excited about where things are going. The administration has been very supportive. The department members have been very supportive. So I'm very, very hopeful and grateful to be here in this role. This role is not just professional, it's personal. Having members of the community reach out to me with needs that they have, I take it very seriously that it is my job and my role to do my very best to get ADA grievances and accommodation requests handled. I take it very seriously to acknowledge what the disability community needs as a member of the community myself.
Yeah. Oh, there's so many things that you mentioned that I want to talk about now. First of all, that the program that you piloted, where you and others went out onto the street, and sort of just like walked that path and commuted and did all of the things. Who was all involved in that? Who did you bring with you? Who were you next to during that
So
process?
I did bring a gentleman by the name of Mr. Rush Blady. He's an orientation specialist through the Bureau of Blind and Vision Services with the Office of Vocational Rehabilitation, and it's called OVR. So what he did is he came out and he assisted with the white cane portion of the training and giving demonstrations and real-time information and action behind what people who have low vision or blindness may need to cross the street, to navigate the sidewalks and such. So the members of our staff were able to actually, cross busy streets downtown with the white cane and learn different things that people with low vision or blindness may experience in the right of way.
Did anyone after that come to you and say, like, thank you, or wow, I can't believe that, this is something that people actually have to experience? Like, were there any like aha, eye-opening moments for people?
That's one of the best parts. One of the things that I request of our attendees is to let me know what affected or impacted you the most. What did you learn that you may not have known before? One particular comes to mind was a member of our 311 team. And the 311 team handles accommodation requests through the 311 line or online portal, or call where people can notify that they are having an issue of some kind with accessibility and such in the community. So one of the members of that team reached back out and sent me a wonderful email about things that had happened during the training and how it had expanded her awareness. She already had empathy, for people with disabilities, but it opened her mind even further to understanding what people with disabilities may encounter in the right of way. I was helping one of the trainees cross the street with the white cane, and a car literally turned the corner and could have hit us. So it was very real. I actually, yelled. It was real time experience, and so it just showed that people who write in or call in and have concerns with the lack of accessibility or any issues, they're not just calling in just to complain and whine. These are people who need things resolved in order to live a productive, accessible life. So it's not just gripes. It's actual situations, and situational awareness is necessary.
Yeah, and when people are making those phone calls and they're requesting certain accommodations, what are they asking for the most? What have you noticed that seems to be missing the most across the city of Pittsburgh when people are calling you?
That's kind of a hard question to answer because it's like a basket, of
Yeah.
things. But if I had to say the most,
Or even just like, what are some of the things that you hear often? Maybe not even the most, just what do people typically ask for?
so I'd have to say most probably sidewalk issues would probably, and maybe entry into some buildings because Pittsburgh has an older infrastructure. It just is. So it can make things more challenging. We have a wonderful team at DOMI who are aggressive with approaching the sidewalk situation, sidewalk repairs. We have what's called the Complete Streets Advisory Group, which is with community members who come in and share what they need, what they've noticed, or what they need to have rectified. And so the teams here in the city are very, very understanding and supportive of moving forward with making Pittsburgh more accessible for everyone. And I'm grateful for that. I'm also a part of the Complete Streets Advisory Group. So it's collecting information and data, and it's very involved and it's very comprehensive.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. What happens next? So when someone calls you and they submit a request for an accommodation, or they say, "Hey, this sidewalk on, I don't know, Walnut Street or something is bad." Then what does that process look like after that? What happens after?
So generally speaking, what happens once, so they don't necessarily call me about the sidewalk. They mostly put in 311 tickets or such for that. But what would happen is it would be routed, and then I'd route it to whichever department it needs to go to. And then it can be an exchange of information. We also have to look at the budget. Will the repair be feasible due to the budget, or would it need to be put on a list for, a future budget session? But they've done a lot of improvements in the city, and I'm quite impressed. While we have a long way to go, we've come very far. So it's important to acknowledge how much has been done rather than highlighting what hasn't been done all of the time.
Right.
So that's important. For forward progress, you need to acknowledge the good that has been done.
Yeah.
And let people know. Pittsburgh, again, has a very much older infrastructure. So I think that's something that sometimes people forget. So we have to give grace and remember that as well.
Yeah. So do you think that the infrastructure wise, that's probably one of the biggest areas in terms of need of improvement? Do you think that's probably something that can continue to be improved on?
Yes, there are various programs that we are working on and that we have to address that specific issue. There's the one step program, which is a program where businesses can receive funding assistance in order to have a one step removed. So there's incentives for that. One step removed so that the business is accessible for people who need to have that step removed, who may use wheelchairs or mobility devices of other kinds, or have a disability to gain entry into a business. So there are things that are happening that enable things to be better. So that's the one thing I'm grateful for. Mm-hmm.
Wow. So it's like a grant that a business owner can get to make ADA improvements to their building, basically.
Yep.
Oh, wow. How long has that been around? Has that been around for a while, or is that a new
thing? It's been around since before I was hired. So I started here in July last year. So it's been around for some time.
Oh, nice. Do a lot of people know about it, do you think? Or is...
I believe a lot of people do, but raising awareness is always good.
Yeah. You know how you mentioned earlier just about your role and helping people find resources that they may need. Does that include like working with people more on like a personal basis, where like you may be assigned a case, or maybe you're the one assigning like cases to people, and maybe it's things that are happening at their home, they need a resource, or at work? Like, is it more on a person-to-person basis?
It's absolutely on a person-to-person basis, a situation-to-situation basis.
Okay.
So when I field emails or inquiries about needs that people in the community have who have disabilities, like say they want modifications, they need modifications for their home to make it more accessible, I would figure out which resource works best for their situation. If someone were to reach out and they're having difficulties at their employment, they feel like there's discrimination or there's a lack of accessibility, I can lend them resources to gain help for that. So it very much is a case-by-case basis, situation by situation basis, and depending on what the situation is will determine which resource that I refer them to.
Wow. And do you have a big caseload at your office? Like, are there a lot of people who are emailing in and calling in, or do you think that the office in general needs to more awareness, that people know that you're a resource for them?
One thing I can say about our disability community and even as a part of the disability community, we communicate. We let people know when something is not right. So no, there's not a shortage at all of emails, because people have things that they need to have resolved. They have ADA grievances, or they have ADA accommodation requests. So where there's a lack of accessibility, I'd expect the emails to come in, and appreciate that they trust me and the administration enough to express their needs, and trust that they will be resolved in as much of a timely fashion as feasible.
Are there any ADA limitations where maybe you get a certain case or something and your hands are tied? Is that a thing? Are there limitations with the ADA?
Absolutely. So it's more so about my role. I am the ADA coordinator for the city of Pittsburgh specifically. So if it's a private entity, like a building that's owned not by the city of Pittsburgh, and an elevator inside of that building isn't working, there are limitations as to what I can do about that, because it's a private entity. It's not a building owned by the city of Pittsburgh. So that's when things become challenging for me personally and professionally, that I'm not able to necessarily do anything about that except relay resources.
Yeah. And what about Disability Pride Month in terms of just like needing to raise awareness? How important is that that we're having this conversation today, and that people are listening, or someone else has this conversation? Talk to me about the importance of raising awareness for this month.
It's extremely important. I feel like sometimes people take things for granted. So it is extremely important to highlight the disability community. I can say that we have a great amount of support by people who do not have disabilities. I can speak for myself and say that, and it is very important. So Disability Pride Month is a wonderful time to highlight, uplift, and raise awareness about living with a disability. It removes the stigma of shame that some people may feel. It's also acknowledging that some people may be undiagnosed that have a disability and who are afraid to share about it. It's encouragement to uplift people who have disabilities. It's a celebration of sorts, and acknowledging the differences that we all have. It's amazing. It's an amazing opportunity to, again, uplift, encourage, and it also uplifts acceptance. Disability is not a scarlet letter. Disability, you can say I'm disabled. It's not, in times past it was considered, oh no, we don't say things like that. We don't claim that. Well, I look at it a bit differently. I feel like my disability is not a deficit, it's an asset.
Yeah.
I can do what other people can't with a disability. I lip read really well. My other senses are heightened. My sense of taste, touch, smell are much more stronger than others. So it's an asset. Absolutely. I have a stronger intuition about things because because of my hearing loss and my deafness. I have bilateral sensory neural deafness in both ears. So yes, I wear assistive device, but I'm still deaf at the end of the day. I lip read. I read body language extremely well. I can often tell someone's intention just by how they move their body, whether they're interested in a conversation. Simple as that, So it's been amazing in that it can even save someone's life. It could save my life, being able to read body language. So it can be that serious. So I with that, I intend to highlight that it's not always bad. There are assets to my hearing loss that other people may not even be aware of or think of. So, and again, it's not all bad. When I get a migraine, I can turn my hearing aid off. If I have sound overload, which often happens if I'm trying to hear or understand through loud noises or backgrounds, I'm able to turn it off. So it's not all bad. There's some good too, So
Yeah.
I think it's important to highlight.
And so it kind of ties into earlier you mentioning just like gosh, it was right on the tip of my tongue. Oh my goodness, I wanted to ask you this so bad.
One step at a time. It's okay.
Sorry, yeah, I just had like a major brain fart. But anyway, yes, just okay. You were talking earlier just about the how things have sort of changed and like marking the progress and not just talking about things that that need to be done or that are going poorly or this wasn't done right. So and we all do that. But with what you just said now and sort of how things have progress, I think maybe like socially for people who are living with disabilities and sort of just that idea of like, no, like this isn't holding me back. This is, as you just explained, this is actually helping me like move forward in a lot of other like places. Do you think is that like a common thing where a lot of people are sort of adopting that idea now, or is it sort of like person to person? But do you think like as a whole, like as a society, that people are sort of saying, I'm not gonna like let this limit me anymore?
So for me, I didn't let it limit me. But I can share a quick experience with you. So one thing that I must say is COVID, while tragic for many of us in the community at large, of course, all over, it also was pivotal in the realization that accessibility is possible. There were sometimes people who were employed who needed to work remotely due to their disability, and they had requested that and were denied with the notion that it couldn't be done. Well, we had learned extremely quickly when COVID surfaced that not only is it possible, but it was done. And it was done all over the place, right? It was done everywhere. So it proved to those, it raised awareness to employers that remote work is doable. It's a matter of, will you do it?
Yeah.
Rather than it can't be done. So, yeah, I remember, I believe the community at large, the awareness has heightened. I believe that the acceptance has absolutely increased. I believe that empathy has absolutely increased. I believe that people are more aware of others' needs, even though they may not need it themselves, which is wonderful, which is amazing, which is all of the things. It's just mind blowing to see. And yeah, so I remember when COVID was at the height, and I needed to go grocery shopping. So this is just a quick anecdote, just to show how important empathy is in the disability community. So I'm deaf and hard of hearing. I rely heavily on lip reading, right? So I went to the grocery store. Very simple. Went to the store, doing my regular shopping. I had been sending other people to the store because I was avoiding going to the store with people wearing masks and such, right? I was deliberately avoiding that. So at this point, mommy had to go. Mommy had to go to the store. Got to get food. It's got to be done. So I get to the store. I complete my shopping. I get to the register, and I realize I forgot the syrup. Now, this is a store that I don't always go to, so I'm not exactly familiar with where everything was in the store. So I get to the register. There's somebody behind me. I'm already a little bit flustered and exasperated just because of the situation for me with my hearing loss. So I get to the register and I ask the cashier, can you tell me where the syrup is, what aisle the syrup is in? I had waffles in the cart, and the kids, gotta have the Kerrygold's Irish butter and your syrup, right? The buttery syrup for the kids in the morning for the waffles, right? Sounds simple, doesn't it? It sounds real simple. You ask the cashier, they'll tell you what it is. You run and grab it and run back to the register, right? I'm deaf. I rely on lip reading. I'm already exasperated thinking I possibly won't understand this cashier when they tell me where the syrup is. Okay. So the first time the cashier says it, it's a younger gentleman, an older teen maybe, or a young adult, and he's very soft spoken. So this is what I hear.
Mm-hmm.
Voice. I'm like, oh boy, here we go.
Yeah, really.
Here we go. I'm gonna try this again. These kids need syrup for these waffles. You know, kids, they're used to certain things. They want the syrup for the waffle.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this again. I'm gonna run this question by this gentleman. Hopefully I catch it the second time. I'm sorry. I wear a hearing aid. I'm deaf. I didn't quite catch that. I lip read. So, and you have the mask on. We have masks on. Could you please repeat that again a bit louder so that I can hear you? And now remember, there's somebody behind me. So I'm like already like, I don't like to inconvenience other people. I don't like to waste time, other people's time. So I'm like, I hope I get it this time. I lean in.
Oh no.
I'm embarrassed. I'm flustered. I'm all of the things. These kids are getting ready to get butter for their waffles, and that's going to be it.
Yeah.
They're just going to have to be happy with that. I'm not. If I don't get it this next time, that's it. I'm checking out. We're out of here.
And was this during the time too where there were like time, like you probably had to wait in line to get in the store, right? Remember like the grocery line, because they only let a certain number of people in at a time, and there were like shopping.
No, this wasn't. This was after that. This was when it was a little bit further along.
Okay, because that would have added to it. It made it even worse.
Exponentially. So the third time, I got it, boys. I got it. I got the aisle. I heard him. But it was after him getting exasperated.
Yeah.
Because I repeated myself. And so what I want to highlight with that is it's more exasperating for me to have to repeat myself or ask you to repeat yourself than it should be for you to repeat yourself.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that we have empathy for other people. Yes, if you get on the bus and the ramp needs to be let down, it does take time. Absolutely. Yeah. Where's the empathy and the understanding, right? They have a right to the access to transportation like anyone else. Right. They have places they need to go, things they need to do, people they need to see, just like you do.
Yeah.
People who use wheelchairs also may be employed as you're employed, right? So they need a method to get to work, just like everyone else. So I wanted to highlight that it's not necessarily about added equity. It's about baseline equity. Yeah. We want the same playing field, the level playing field that everyone else has access to. So we have to reframe and shift our mind on how we think about accessibility. It's not about, oh, they want so much. No, we want level. We want equity. We want the same.
Right.
That's what it's about. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here to level the playing field, to level access to information, to be able to live your daily life with a disability like everyone else lives their lives. Yeah. So one of the ways we can do that is think about universal design. When you design things with universal design, that's accessible for everyone, not just one population, with everyone in mind as a forethought as opposed to an afterthought. Rather, it's being proactive rather than reactive. Yeah. So I like to highlight that as well. This is a great conversation, Royce.
I know. I'm into it. And like, I just want to say, I really wish that person at the grocery store would have they could have alleviated so much if they would have just led you to the aisle. They could have just taken.
Well, no, so we have to be careful with that, Royce, because we don't want to overstep.
Okay.
You know, that's like you see someone with a walking cane, right? And they have low vision or blindness. more than likely they've adapted to how to navigate the environment.
Yeah.
So say you see maybe a hole, okay, just ahead. You I gotta tell them, if they have their walking cane and there's a small hole, most likely they will detect that out of having adapted to, the the environment.
Yes.
Okay, so you could cause more harm than help if you do. Now, if it's a cliff, that's altogether a different situation,
Yeah.
But if it's a small obstruction, they more than likely will catch that on their own. So you see what I mean? So yes, I get what you're saying as far as being helpful by guiding me to the aisle, but that impedes on my independence.
Sure.
We don't want to do that. We don't want to impede on someone's how they've already navigated living with the environment and adapted, right? So the best way to resolve that is speak up. Right. Or ask the person with the disability, what's the best way to ensure you have access? What method works best for you? Okay. So again, it's very individualized. People with disabilities, it's not a monolith, right? So we want to figure out how best to accommodate that specific person with their specific disability in the best way that makes accessibility ensured for them.
Yeah. Yeah. And because I feel like in my head, I have like two voices, and one is like overstep. And then the other one is like, mind your business. So
you want to be in the middle. You want to be in the middle, Royce. You want to be in the middle. That's what we want. We want that happy medium, right? Happy medium that ensures accessibility, but also, we don't want pity. We don't want pity, and we don't want overstep. We want right in the middle. Okay, we want accessibility.
Yes.
Level playing field.
Yes.
Right? Empathy and understanding. But we don't need pity. Pity is the antithesis of what people with disabilities want. We don't want pity. We just want right down the middle. Level playing field. Complete accessibility. If I say I need help, acknowledge it. Do not say you can help me if you cannot.
Right.
If someone comes to me with an accessibility concern, if there's something that I can't solve, I will say I don't make promises, but I will do my very best to get what you need accomplished, right? Yeah. So I'll reach out to resources. I'll, reach out to a member of our team that's in a certain department that handles that certain thing, and that, so, but again, it's mostly about. So people who learn American Sign Language, this is a little bit off, but people who are learning American Sign Language often are concerned when they're speaking with someone like me who's deaf or hard of hearing, who does know ASL, because all deaf people do not know ASL. That's often a misconception. I think that's one of the, but are concerned with people who are deaf or hard of hearing being upset if they don't sign 100% perfectly. We are not looking for perfection. Complete accessibility at 100% is highly unlikely. Okay, so we have that notion already known. Okay, so but what we want is as close to that as we can get, which would be progress and action. So yeah, that's what we want. We want progress and effort. Effort is everything. Actionable effort, because people can say effort with talking, but are they showing effort with movement? Right. We want movement, and we want a level playing field. And that's what we do here at the city. That's what our mayor has done by moving my role as ADA coordinator into the mayor's office from the Department of City Planning. It gives the role more visibility. It gives the role the visibility that it deserves. It gives our constituents, it gives me more resource access. It highlights how important accessibility is to the administration. I can attest that I've been supported. And I'm not quite sure that was done with people in my role in times past. I can only speak for what I know. And I know that my role having been moved, that's groundbreaking. Yeah. That's unprecedented. I believe I'm the first Black ADA coordinator in the mayor's office. Unprecedented things are happening with this administration. I'm not politicking, okay? Right. I'm a Black lady from Knoxville and Belsuva is where I grew up. I'm from the hood, right? Yeah. So bringing that lived experience here is so that I can relate, that things can resonate with me, because I've got that lived experience as well. I faced disability discrimination. I faced those types of things. So it gives me an edge in this role and an extra layer of understanding. I've used a wheelchair. I've used a walker. I've used a cane through different injuries I've had. And it wasn't just one day, it was some time. Mm-hmm. So I have the unique perspective that I've lived with various things, so that it adds to my role here as the ADA coordinator. I have that empathy because I've been there. Right. So I'm excited at the things that are happening within this administration for the community. Is everything perfect? Absolutely not. Have we come a long way? We have the ADA transition plan contract that was just awarded this year.
What was that?
The ADA transition plan contract was awarded this year. The city is working with industry leaders to learn about what we're doing right and where there are barriers. There has not been an ADA transition plan since 1992, boys. Wow. 32 years, there has not been an ADA transition. Do you understand how unprecedented and groundbreaking that is? We're doing it now.
And is that here in the city of Pittsburgh or globally, or like within the United States that there hasn't been?
That's the city.
Okay.
That's the city. The ADA was passed July 26, 1990. The city did have one in 1992 with the wonderful advocate Joan Stein. Did that one with the city, and there has not been one since. So I'm not going to give you away my age, but I was a kid when that one was done. And I'm grown now with children, and it's been long overdue, and we're getting it done. It's about the work. It's about getting it done. It's not about lip service. I'm not interested in lip service. I'm interested in what are we doing to make things happen.
What does that do now? Now that you have that, what kind of doors does that open?
It's amazing. You mean the role, or what are you talking about specifically? Because I want to make sure I answer your question.
Yeah, the award that you just mentioned. I don't know what it's called.
Oh, the contract.
The contract, yes.
It's the ADA transition plan. So it consists of 2 years. It's a $620,000 contract. So it's serious. So it'll give us comprehensive results. So the first year is what's called a self-evaluation, okay? Where they come in, the consultants come in and they assess where are we moving right and where do we need to have barriers removed for accessibility. And then the second part of that is where they take that data, right, and community input and transmute it into a plan.
Okay.
To rectify what needs to be rectified to improve accessibility for it. They're assessing programs, services, the right of way, anywhere the city of Pittsburgh touches to our constituents, they're assessing that. So it's very comprehensive, and it's going to open a lot of doors. It's going to show we've got this right. We need to improve on this. So it's an actionable plan that's going to be available at the end, that's going to probably take years and lots of money to rectify, but things can be fixed in the meantime. So it's amazing. It opens a lot of doors, and it's not just going to affect now, it's going to affect our communities for generations to come. Yeah. So that's the exciting part. The work that we're doing now will affect people for many, many years to come. Not only people that live here in our city, but people that visit our city. And I couldn't be more happy to be a part of it. I'm honored to be a part of it. It's a heavy hat, but I'm grateful to be here to wear it.
Yeah. I know. I'm like, there's so many things I still have on my list. I'm trying to get to because but
I'm
then
just talking.
yeah, well, no, because I have something I want to ask, but then you say stuff and new stuff pops in my brain, and I want to get to this because it is Disability Pride Month, and I wanted to know if you had any advice for people who may be living with a disability but don't know it or are nervous to go see a specialist or some sort of doctor to have it confirmed, to have it checked out. What would you tell those people?
For a disability.
Yeah, that may be living with one, but they're like, they haven't gone and had it checked out. They think they might have a disability, but they don't know. Like maybe their hearing or vision is waning or whatever. Or it like just, but yeah, like they have that, you had mentioned sort of like the shame aspect or like stigma or whatever, and they don't want to confirm it that they have a disability. They don't want to get that like bad news from the doctor that it is what they feared it would be. Like, do you have any advice for those people who are sort of think they might be living with a disability, but they're too nervous to go have it checked out?
Call me.
Yeah.
Email me. Reach out. There's a level of acceptance that has to come at some point.
Yeah.
To live your best life, you may need to know. It should be more about what you have to gain as opposed to what you're losing.
Right.
I do know that with a lot of times with hearing, if you don't use it, you could lose it. So if you need a hearing aid, that may be to your benefit. Again, things have improved with awareness that wearing a hearing aid isn't as taboo as it may have been in days past.
Mm-hmm.
I wear what's called a behind the ear aid. I'm supposed to wear two. I'm working on getting another one. But they have decorations for them now. They have brightly colored ear molds now. They have like decorations you can put all along it. It's more celebrated as opposed to ridiculed.
Yeah.
So I would suggest reaching out to me. If I can assist in any way, I'd be more than happy to. If I can offer a resource, I'd be more than happy to. If you need someone to be your cheerleader, I'm here. That's the gist of what I do. I'm here to ensure that people in our community have what they need. If they have a disability and they want to live their best life, that's what I'm here for.
Yep. And we talked about so many things. We hit a lot of topics today. Does this information exist anywhere online? If people want to go or they don't want to call, can they find some of this information we talked about anywhere?
Yes, you can go to the City of Pittsburgh website and look up the Office of Equal Protection. The Office of Equal Protection is an enforcement and enforcement office. So we help with labor rights and civil rights as well. So I have colleagues. I have Anne Marie Ellison. She is a compliance coordinator. She works with the labor rights part and disruptive properties and helps make sure that things are where they need to be with the Paid Sick Leave Act. So it just makes people more aware what their rights are when it comes to labor. And then we have Zeke Rediker, who is the mayor's executive advisor on legal policy. He manages the Office of Equal Protection. He's been very pivotal in making sure that the Office of Equal Protection exists. So he's been a staunch advocate to make sure that our administration is aware and is moving forward with disability rights. We also have an event coming up. It's the Mayor's Rally for Disability Rights. It's coming up next week on Monday, July 22nd. Mayor had a town hall meeting in 2022, just before I was hired, and there has been so much that has been done. I'm ecstatic to share, and we are ecstatic to share the progress that has been made, the wins that we've had, and where we're going to ensure accessibility so that our constituents can thrive and they feel welcomed and safe. So that will be held at Google You can find the information on the Engage Pittsburgh site, on the Engage Pittsburgh site on the City of Pittsburgh website. There's a link where you can register. Everyone must register to attend. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be a celebration of disability pride. It's going to be a celebration of the kickoff of the 34th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act being passed. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
We're going to have our ADA transition plan consulting team there in person for our constituents to meet, our community to meet face to face, so they can see who's going to be doing this ADA self-evaluation and transition plan to help our city improve. And couldn't be more proud. I couldn't be more proud of the team that has helped here with planning, with the team there at Google who has made sure that we have everything we need as hosting. Shout out to Google for the accessibility. It's going to be great. It's going to be from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m.
Okay, and it's next week. What day again?
Monday, July 22nd,
Monday.
from 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m.
And then where can people go again to register for that?
The Engage Pittsburgh link on the city's website. There is a link where they can sign up to register.
Cool. I did want to circle back real quick to just sort of how people can, who are not living with disabilities, just day-to-day people, employers, how they can get involved in Disability Pride Month, and also just some knowledge, misconceptions, things like we talked about at the grocery store. We talked about, finding that common ground between, ignoring it and like doing too much. So are there any more pieces of advice or guidance, personal experiences that you could share that could help people navigate communicating or assisting people who are living with disabilities?
I think one of the best pieces, so the hardest part has always been mindset. Okay. We can have all of the accommodation we'd like, right? We can have all of the, accessibility features we'd like. But if the mindset shift doesn't happen, the person will still feel excluded. Mm-hmm. So if I had to offer a single piece of advice, it'd be make sure that your mindset is about accessibility and best practices and inclusion. Because if it's not, the person, even if the accommodation is there, the person may not feel fully supported, right? Yeah. So that's what we want to highlight. We want to make sure, okay, if you say you're going to help them, actually help them. Mm-hmm. As an employer, if your employee knows that you have their back, you're likely to have that employee there longer.
Right.
And that goes with any employer. If there's a level of understanding and support, if they feel supported, why wouldn't they want to stay longer, right? If you're open-minded enough to lead with empathy and understanding, and if you don't understand, reach out to someone who's a subject matter expert and get clarity, and that's okay. It's being respectful of people with disabilities. It's not ridiculing people who have disabilities. It should be woven into your workplace culture, not just an add-on. Right. That's important.
Yeah. Does the ADA or even like your office offer any sort of like guidance to employers? Like whether it be like trainings or like a code of conduct, sort of thing that you guys like offer to businesses or whatever, so that they can know best practices?
Not specifically, no. But there may be other avenues they can get that information from. Yeah. I'm here in my official capacity, so there are limits to what I can share about my own personal referral for that. But the ADA is clear about employment accessibility.
Yeah.
So the Americans with Disabilities Act is a great place to start.
Yeah.
And then from there, there are other resources that could be referred to for
Yeah.
further information. Mm-hmm.
Because I can just say, like I've worked at a lot of, places. I've had many employers, and that does seem like the one thing that's always sort of missing. It's the one
I
thing
would ask the HR department.
yeah, like right. Maybe we're starting something now. Maybe people will like reach out and be like, "Hey, can we bring you in for?" Yeah. Because it
Let's
is.
go.
Yeah, right. Like it's I don't think I've taken any, like they make you take most employers, you got to sit through like videos about like how to interact with certain people, whatever, or quizzes and things. And like I think this is like from my personal experience as someone who doesn't have a disability, that like it's like there's a hole there. I think there's a lot of gray area that could be improved on that I think will be super beneficial. And not even just with like the like ADA compliance items, but just like like you said, the attitude, like an energy towards
Mm-hmm.
what
The attitude by far has been the hardest part in my lived experience.
yeah.
Snide comments, just it's presuming incompetence rather than assuming competence.
Right.
But being underestimated, I can't deny that hasn't been an asset for me as well.
All right.
Yeah. Underestimate me, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what I'd say. I'd say the attitude shift. The attitude shift is extremely important. I also want to highlight again my appreciation as a member of the disability community for this administration and the forward progress. It's I grew up here. I'm from Pittsburgh, right? I'm from Pittsburgh. So I'm proud of that. I'm absolutely proud of the fact that our administration has made this a priority. As a kid, I went to Reisenstein, and just to see how things have evolved, it's amazing to me. And to know that my son, who's 4, who has autism, will have a better shot at having an equitable way of life.
Mm-hmm.
That's invaluable. To know that everyone who has a disability will have a fair shot.
Yeah. That
in and of itself is a very humbling, and I'm very grateful, and I don't take this role lightly. I probably put more pressure on myself than other people put on me, because I am a member of the disability community. I do understand how imperative it is that people have accessibility. So, and I'm just grateful that our administration and our various departments, they seem to understand that too. And the ones that hadn't, I'm bringing awareness to that with my role as ADA coordinator. But the level of support and collaborative efforts has been immeasurable, and it's very much appreciated. I'm not politicky. Just being honest. It's been a great experience thus far being here. There are days that are challenging. It's still worth it. It's still absolutely worth it to know that. And I get emails, people thanking me for helping them get access to what they needed. That it makes my heart smile. And I'm thrilled to be a part of the administration that sees the value in that as well.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. That's awesome. And we have a question that we always ask people. It's usually the last question. I have a couple more things I just want to ask, just simple stuff. But we always ask what brings you joy before we end our streams. And so I guess that's one of them, right? That just
what brings me joy?
Yeah.
My absolute favorite part, you would think it'd be, getting the resources out. You would think it would be, my absolute favorite part is the people. People. My favorite part is changing someone's mind about what the disability looks like. My absolute favorite thing is the communication that I have into office, with our constituents on the street, where they may feel I'm going above and beyond, but no, this is just what I do.
Right.
This is just what I believe in. This is just who I am. Again, I'm a member of the community myself, so it's not like I'm a person from the outside looking in. I'm on the inside looking out as well.
Yeah.
So that my absolute favorite, this is difficult, a difficult question to answer in a way, because I could name several things.
Yeah.
That we are here. What
Mm-hmm.
my favorite, absolute favorite part is that we are where we are now.
Yeah.
That we are actively making change. We're actively making change, and it's undeniable.
Yeah.
I did sign language with the Department of Public Safety and taught them some emergency signs. We are here. We are at this place in this particular time, in this moment in time, and I'm here.
Right.
Little Michelle from Knoxville and Belle Suva, I couldn't have imagined I'd be here doing this.
Yeah.
I knew I'd be an advocate, but changing policy is not something I ever thought I'd be doing.
Yeah.
Being a direct phone call line to change someone's life, to comfort a mom who's worried about her child, it can be as simple as that. It's not always about the big things.
Right.
It can be about the little things too. And sometimes the little things affect the most.
Yeah.
Some people think disability accessibility is going to require a huge undertaking. Not always. It could be as simple as changing your tone in a conversation.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. I love that. You look doing the work, and the fact that you are from here, I know that is. I know that feeling that, you know, to be in your hometown making a difference, and yeah, and
no matter where I go in this world, home came first. No one will ever be able to say home didn't come first.
Yeah.
Home came first.
Yep. And one day people are gonna there were a couple people that you referenced who have done certain things in advocacy. So they'll be talking about you one day.
You know what?
They will.
I'm not doing this for fame. I'm doing this to change lives, to transform lives. We're here not, for accolades.
Yeah.
I do this because I care that much about my community. I care that much about making sure that people have a better quality of life. We care in this administration, and the move from my role from the Department of City Planning to the mayor's office alone was a huge, huge show of care and effort for accessibility. That was monumental for this community, just to let the community know, hey, we hear you. We feel what you're saying. We what can we do to? What's one way we can make things better? And that was the start.
Yep.
That was the start.
Well, I'm sending you my virtual flowers through the screen right now for all your work.
Thank you. Yes. I'm not a one-woman show. There's a lot of us involved. Yeah. I'll take those flowers for all of us.
All right, cool. Look, how can people get in contact with you if they're watching this and they're moved? How can people connect with you and your office?
So I can be reached online, email, ada@pittsburghpa.gov. And that's the best way to reach me. So you go get my direct email box. Those emails come to me, and I'd be happy to help however I can.
All right, awesome. I think that's it. Was there anything that I did not ask that you wanted to make sure that you got out there today?
The ADA is the floor. Accessible, that's the floor. We want to hit the ceiling.
Yep. All right, then.
The ADA is the floor, not the ceiling.
Look,
that's what I want people to remember. The ADA is baseline.
Yes.
You have to surpass the baseline.
You've been dropping stuff today. I'm like, I'm stealing that quote. That
Tag me.
Oh, Michelle, this has been really great. Thank you so much for sharing all of your knowledge. I hope that, well, I don't want to add too much to your already busy schedule, but I hope we did get some new people who saw you, heard about your work, heard about the office, and connect with you. And connect with you.
Thank you, Royce. This has been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you, Miracle, as well, for soliciting me to come. Thank you for allowing me to share. Thank you for listening and being open-minded to listen. That's again, that's a big part of it, is being receptive to what people with disabilities have to say. So it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure.
Likewise. Thank you, Michelle. And thank you guys out there for watching our One Hood Power Hour, Power Lunch, Power Sit Down, whatever you want to call it. Hope you have a great rest of your week, great rest of your day. Again, my name is Royce Jones. I have been your host this afternoon, and we'll see you next time.